Isaiah 9 through 12 and 2 Chronicles 27. Well, we've talked twice before about the concept of a Messiah in the Old Testament, notably in the Psalm 2 video and the Psalm 110 video, if you want to go back and see those. This will probably be our last chance to talk about the term Messiah in the Old Testament, because this is that great book, Isaiah, that really fills out our thinking about a Messiah. Here's the challenge that we face. In the New Testament, when we get there, and knowing the end of the story as we do, we are meeting a person, of course Jesus, who is called the Messiah. In Greek, it's ha Christos. And that term, Christos, is simply the idea of, or it's the translation of the Old Testament idea of the anointed one. Now, it comes from the verb to anoint. It's and it's used 39 times in the Old Testament to describe someone who is anointed ritually to accomplish a purpose or a task. 8 times it's used of Saul. Numerous times it's used of David, Elijah, kings, prophets, priests, and so forth. So it's a rather common term. And here's the challenge, that in the New Testament we are very used to the idea of the Messiah. And if we're trying to go back and look for the Messiah in prophetic terms, the challenge is that we have no mention of the Messiah in the Old Testament. Again, we have 39 times that someone is anointed for a task, but never is the phrase the Messiah ever given to us. So we're looking in the wrong place if we're trying to find prophecies that fit Jesus in the sense of looking for the phrase the Messiah. What we have to do is say, well, we have numerous people who are anointed. How do they reflect this coming knowledge of someone who will fit what turns out to be the Messiah? And it's interesting that in Isaiah, the word Mashiach, which is to anoint or be anointed, is only used one time. It's in Isaiah 45:1. It's used of Cyrus, who's a foreign king. So there, even again, the word does not mean Messiah as much as someone tasked for a role. I would even recommend, this is again something that comes with, well, reading left or right to left, as we tend to do. We take a word like Messiah and we pack it with religious meaning because of how it's used here, and we go back and we read it with religious meaning back here. And that's a mistake, again, because if Cyrus is used as an anointed one, he obviously doesn't fit the bill of a Messiah. He is, again, just an anointed person by God's definition to fulfill a role. So I wouldn't even think in terms, if I'm trying to be honest with how to read the Old Testament story left to right, I'm not looking for a Messiah. I'm looking for just simply the story of the Old Testament, and as that story fills itself out, I'm asking myself, what kind of role is being defined that someday I'll be able to see come true in the life of Jesus? Well, let's use our reading today to put some thoughts together. In 9:6 in Isaiah, we're told that he is a son of Yahweh, or Yahweh through Isaiah calls him his son, which is again a term of intimacy. In also 9:6, we're told he will have the authority of God given to him by design. Now, we saw both of these in Psalm 2 and Psalm 110, so nothing totally new yet, but here it is again, that God will consider this person a person to come to be very intimate with him, and also God will delegate his authority to him. In 9:7 and 11:1, the idea of a Davidic person. Now again, that can be fulfilled by hundreds, if not thousands of people, right? That many people are a part of the Davidic line over time, but we just need to mention it. It is clearly part of this promise that God will work through a person who will be of Davidic ancestry. But let's continue. In 11:2, we have the interesting idea that God's Spirit will be upon this person. It says the Spirit of Yahweh, the Spirit of wisdom, the Spirit of counsel. So don't think Trinitarian, third person of the Trinity idea. Think in terms of the presence or power of Yahweh will come upon this person in some very special way to fulfill a purpose again. In 11:5, recall how we've used the word aman, which means to believe or more likely to be loyal to someone. We have the term amunah. It's the adjectival form of aman, translated as faithfulness. And very importantly, in 11:5, it says that this person, again, we are defining a role of someone to come in the story of Israel, someone to come who will have, as it says, as the belt of his girdle, or the line is the belt of his waist, or the goal of his life will be faithfulness. So very interesting that, again, it's not success-oriented here. It's a word that simply defines a person as living up to what God wants him to be as a person. In 9:1 and also 11:10, I think it's important again to see this, that Gentiles, it says, will be attracted to him. Whoever this person is, again, the word Messiah or Mashiach is never used in Isaiah 9 through 12, but this person will have Gentiles coming to him, or he will naturally want to go to the Gentile and have the and Gentiles will seek him, it says. One more in 11:20 through 22. In those three verses, the word remnant, and we saw this last time, it's just a secular word that means leftovers, what is left of something. And that word is used 4 times in these 3 verses to define what this person will do in bringing someone, and here again is the point, it's a leftover group of people to Yahweh in faithfulness. So again, what we're doing is simply adding up what we see in Isaiah. And when we meet this person someday, how will he fill in these ideas? Well, what do we do with this list? I would say things like, if I was living over here on this side, I would notice that this is more character-driven than role-driven. Also, none of these are alone by themselves able to point him out. I mean, none of them would make me say, aha, you must be the Messiah, because one of those is true of you. None of these is visibly miraculous, it seems to be. A person could do this very quietly, frankly, in the backwaters of a village, shall we say, and you wouldn't notice it. And one more thing, and I think this is again very important for what we find out on the other side, is that all of these, and knowing the end as we do, are going to be able to be and actually repeated in the life of the person who follows Jesus. Now, the reason I bring that up is because I want to introduce an idea here that needs to be just part of our mindset as we continue on, so that when we get there, it's not a shock to our system. One of the definitions of being a Christ follower in the New Testament is literally to be a Christ follower, to actually step in the footsteps of the one that we are following. And that will be one of the themes of the New Testament, that what Jesus does, we, his followers, end up doing as well.